What's up, AfterBuzzers? We're here for the Cloak and Dagger Season 2 premiere. We have so much to talk about. We're catching up with Tandy and Tyrone. So without further ado, let's shed some light and darkness on the Cloak and Dagger After Show on AfterBuzz TV. Okay, so we're starting. Okay, I'm sorry for the technical difficulties, everyone. We're here for the Season 2 premiere. Just as I said, I'm super excited to be back with this amazing female panel because, let's be real, the future is female.
Yes.
So, without further ado, I'm joined by Karla Beltran.
Hey, what's up, guys?
And if you didn't know, each one of my panelists have a superpower. And Karla's superpower is that she is trilingual.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
I'm like, what is mine?
Right,
Yeah.
Karla?
I am.
You speak Spanish, French, and
English.
English. Like, I
Yes.
can't even speak English. So
And
I'm
bad
super...
B. 4.
And we have Miss Drew Jones.
What's up, y'all?
Her power is that she is so freaking knowledgeable. Like, out of any one of us, she is so smart.
This is
Thank
true.
you.
She knows everything about the comics. Cloak and Dagger, correct me if I'm wrong, Cloak and Dagger is like your favorite
It
Marvel
is.
comic.
I thought my superpower was going to be like, she can eat like a street dog in like 2 seconds. I was
I was
like,
actually gonna say you're super funny.
thank you. Oh my God. I'm blessed.
And next to her, we have Miss Steph Sabraw.
Woo!
Her superpower is that she's basically a fashion icon.
Yes.
I look forward to seeing her looks every single week.
This
at
is
After
true.
Show.
Listen, I came to serve just for the Cloak and Dagger after show because we've been waiting for
Yes.
a year for
Yes.
this.
Right.
So long.
My favorite panel, baby.
Right? And we have 2 hours to cover, so let's get right to it. We got to talk about Tandy, Tyrone, Bridget / Mayhem, and a really big essential core topic that is very heavy this season. So I'm really excited to talk about it. So yeah, and also we have some news and gossip, and we have a live chat. So I hope you're tuning in live. And also we are doing a giveaway again. So stay tuned for the end of the episode to see how you can enter. So, oh yeah, and I'm Ollie Drennan. I'm okay. I don't have like
His superpower is he's like king of the drag queens.
Oh.
Like he has so much knowledge of all things drag.
Thank you. I'm so happy.
Well,
Thank you.
Also, you do like the best cosplay costumes.
Facts.
You guys.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. Look, check him out. He is so good.
See, these women are so empowering. This is why I
All
love
facts.
them. We're
All
family.
facts.
But you know who else is empowering? Tyrone. Let's talk about Tyrone, all right? Well, okay. Before we get to Tyrone, what are your initial thoughts about these 2 episodes, basically? Because this was a lot to cover.
Okay, it was so much to take in, but it was literally what we were expecting. I feel like the whole way through I was in it, and I'm super excited for the show to be back.
I think with a lot of shows, when they come out swinging with the first season, you always are wondering, like, is second season going to be up to par? And I feel like these first 2 episodes gave us everything from the cinematography of it to the storyline to, you know, making the comic books their own. Like, everything was very, like, just punching your face. Like, we're here. So I loved it.
I loved it. What I get most excited about the show is that I've seen a lot of shows try to hit like important social topics, but rarely do they hit them well, where it's not like forced and it makes sense in the storyline. And this is one of them where it makes total sense in the storyline. It's not forced, but it's so important, and it's superheroes, so it's like the best of both worlds. And I love the characters.
Oh, totally. I'm super excited because we kind of are like going on this journey with them because it was literally like 8 months. Like 8 months ago was like when the season 1 wrapped. So I'm super excited to get right to it.
Sorry to
No, go
interrupt,
ahead.
but I love that they took on the show as in like, oh, it's been 8 months
Yeah.
since he's been gone, so it's like we know where they've been.
Oh,
They kind
yeah.
of caught us up of where they've been in the past 8 months.
Yeah, and I just love the kind of 180 these characters did of Tandy and Tyrone because they literally switched places. Tandy at the beginning of season 1 was where Tyrone is in season 2. So speaking of Tyrone, I felt so bad for him in this episode because he is feeling so lonely. He is missing his old life. He's spying on his parents who seem to be separated or something. At
Yeah.
least that's what I got. I don't know about you
I got
guys.
that too.
Yeah, and then of course Evita, our girl Evita. So what did you think about Tyrone in this season premiere?
I think Tyrone is growing a little bit more on me this season because last year I was definitely Team Dagger all the way, and not that I was against Cloak, but it's just like, you know, and you could probably tell, you guys, I'm wearing black today.
Oh, we got
I've
a
been
crossover.
turning to the dark side in the real. So I just really enjoyed kind of the fact that each different character covered like a specific topic, and I love that Tyrone's topic was narcotics and just him wanting to do something about it. And I love seeing him back.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. I really like how we're seeing him use his time wisely. I feel like, it's very easy to get into some. I mean, obviously, last season we saw with Tandy, she dealt with things by using narcotics and stuff. So it's interesting to see how Tyrone handles isolation and handles kind of like his struggles. And in a way, like, he is kind of, I don't see him like, I feel like he's obsessing over things that don't really make a lot of sense to me. Like the narcotics thing, like, yeah, obviously drugs are bad. Let's get it off the street. But it's interesting, like, the fixation he has on it instead of, like, focusing on his own problems and trying to get out of the situation that he's in. And, I love that my girl Evita is out here still repping.
Yeah, I at first it was funny because I texted Drew when I was watching it. I was like, why is Tyrone stealing from black people? I felt like it was going against what I thought he was doing, but then I understood the greater picture of it, that it was he wanted to get drugs off the street. I'm glad Tandy, for usually the way it goes is he has to check her privilege. The one time where she got to check his was that it's all sides are bad. The consumers are bad. The buyer, and that's the same with sex trafficking. The buyers are the ones keeping the business going. So it's easy to point fingers at the people distributing it, but a lot of times their circumstances don't allow for them to have other jobs. It's still not an excuse, but and I thought that he's made a ton of emotional growth. Like, he consistently, the fact that he's always the one apologizing to Tandy, I'm like, she should apologize to you, bro. Like, what?
Yeah.
I also just think it's really refreshing to see a character, especially a black male character, be so open and, like, vulnerable with their emotions and be very, like, to wear their emotions on their face so well. Like, even when he goes to try to, rob the second house and, like, gets jumped, Tandy's like, you're a terrible liar. Like, I can tell what's going on. And I just think, I don't know, I feel like the characters are so well developed on this show.
Right.
And Joe Pikaski does a really great job of making sure that, like, representation's there, but it's, like, accurate representation, and it's going deeper than just,
And it's not stereotypical.
Yeah, and it's just it's really nice to see, like, the little things that are done.
Yeah.
Totally.
I was living for his transformation in terms of his powers. His powers have grown so much. I love seeing him teleport, and just to see him, like, not be able to do that last season, I was like, come on, Tyrone, you can do it. And I just loved him actually even going as far as revealing his powers to Evita. And Evita is
transporting her.
Yeah, being able to do that. And Evita was just not here for him. And I agreed with Evita. How are you basically going to go MIA and not even tell me that you're alive for 8 months?
I wish a boy would try to ghost me and then be like, but bae, like, look what I can do. I'm like, listen, no.
Props to Evita. I was telling Drew, she's worlds ahead of both Tandy and Tyrone in understanding life, knowing when to forgive, knowing when to counsel, and she looks freaking beautiful doing it. So I'm totally team Evita.
I also, I just think it's really funny that Marvel, like, as a universe, has this ongoing idea that, like, when like hot people make out, like, police don't see them. Because, which Captain America is it where Black Widow and Captain America make out on the escalator?
The second one.
And the police are going past, and it's like, oh, we just don't notice them.
The Winter
Time
Soldier.
stops.
Just two people making out on the escalator in the mall, because that's normal.
Well, most people don't look over. Like, if you're making out in public, people are going to be looking at you, like, staring.
I give you a disgusted look. I'm just like, really? And then I would have been like, oh, that's a wanted felon.
Steph, I see you typing over there. What are the chats saying?
Yes, we're in the chat right now. You guys, both Drew and I are here. They said Vita's a ride or die. Blue Space 41, thanks for being in the chat. And just talking about how excited they are for the season. We're equally excited. And they're talking about Karla's dog is in the building. He is our mascot.
Yeah.
Hopefully he'll be here all season. Next time we'll get him a super suit.
Oh my gosh. Can we get him a cloak?
Oh my god.
He's gonna cosplay. He's gonna be better at cosplaying by me by the end of this.
If we get
this
him
season.
a cloak, I'm actually going to spontaneously combust on camera.
buddy, yes. Team Cloak Paco.
Nicholas Kelly brings up a really good point that I will bring up when we talk about Tandy, but I see you. We see each other.
We getting there. But speaking of Tandy, I just love Tyrone's relationship with Tandy. I used to last season. I was like, "Oh, I'm shipping them so much romantically," but I actually really enjoy them just being platonic for now. Like I really do enjoy their friendship and how much they've grown. They don't have to, just because it's a boy and a girl, that doesn't mean they have to have this heteronormative like plot line of automatically, oh, we have to be together, romantically.
Yeah.
And they're really true friends, and I lived for them, their movie nights, and Zorro just reminded me of Cloak and how, I mean, Zorro wears a cape and a mask and everything, but it just kind of reminded me of maybe what Cloak wants to one day be once he has full control of his powers. Yeah. And hopefully a costume.
King Joe Pekaski.
Love him.
Love him.
Love that
tweeted
guy.
that he thought it was really, I can't find the tweet right now.
And
but
he's the showrunner and head writer,
yeah.
I don't know. He does a
all
lot
the
of stuff
things.
on Cloak and Dagger.
Does all the things. But I think he said that in this he really liked that they put Zorro in there because Zorro in a way kind of is both Cloak and Dagger. Like he has both a cloak and a dagger, and then like the black and white, and it was just like a fun little tidbit that they threw in there.
Yes,
I didn't even see that because he has the sword. Duh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, eye-opening, right?
Seriously.
That was iconic. Well, we got to get to. Oh, was I going to?
No, go ahead.
Sorry. Well, before we get to Tandy, our girl Tandy, we have to fill you in. We really appreciate you guys letting us be the ESPN of TV Talk. But do us a favor, because we love you. Go ahead and subscribe to multiple channels of ours. We have reality TV competitions. We have drama. Obviously, you're on the Sci-Fi channel right now. And we are just having such a blast talking with you guys in the live chat. Right, Steph?
Yes. Keep it going.
Leave us comments, subscribe, like, and please give us that 5-star review, either in the comments or on iTunes, preferably on iTunes.
iTunes keeps it spicy.
And if you do, you might be in the running. I mean, you will be in the running for our giveaway this season.
Oh, snap.
And you want to know more details? Well, stick around to the end and we will fill you in. So before we move on to Tandy, Steph, what is the chat saying, girl?
They were asking about the Zorro movie, but Ivan sort of actually brought up a good point before we get to Tandy. The continuity error about Tyrone saying he doesn't know how to teleport other people, but he did teleport Connors last season, right?
But I think
it's just not controlled.
Yeah, I don't think it was controlled. Like he knew how to do it.
That was kind of like out of fear or
Because
something
he also
last season.
absorbed Connors, and I don't think he knows how to do that either.
That's why he's studying AP Physics, baby.
Connors
Facts.
MIA. Oh my gosh.
You got a whole white man inside of you. Like that's wild. Like he does. He absorbed him.
Drew, that's another podcast.
You got a whole white man inside of you.
Oh my
by
gosh.
Drew Jones.
I'm turning red, but let's turn to Tandy right now, our girl. Because I'm kind of like more Dagger too with Karla. But I love seeing Tandy obviously reunite with her mom and helping her out, being there at counseling. And also we meet other characters such as Michaela and how Tandy, she knows the abuse that her mom suffered with her dad. And so that's why Tandy is so defensive, I think, that we thought of with Michaela. What did you guys think of Tandy in the season premiere?
I think Steph and I both agreed on this. I got very frustrated with Tandy and the whole abuse situation because yes, like her father was abusive, but it wasn't towards her, it was towards her mom. And I think
she never saw it.
And so I think when you deal with domestic violence and you are on the outside, there's so much more to domestic violence than just like physical violence. There's mental, emotional. And so to kind of trigger somebody by being like, you just go away, like just walk away. Like it's a lot more complicated than that. And I'm glad that we got to see her kind of grow and learn throughout the episode, because I think a lot of people think that domestic violence is just a simple, well, if you keep getting hit, then that's your fault. And
it's just linear objective.
Exactly. It's not that. It's a mental, emotional, thing. And so I was frustrated with her, but I was glad to see that the writers were responsible enough to kind of guide her character through the episode.
I totally agree, because at first I was like, damn, you're so ignorant. And I had that moment too. Like I have a ton of friends who are in abusive relationships, and you really want to be like, just leave. What are you doing? This is like, it's now your fault for not leaving because you know that this is bad, but it's not like that. It's completely a mental control,
right?
And you continuously make excuses like, they really love me, they're so vulnerable, he just did this one time, he said he's sorry, and it's a cycle. So, but I am glad that I think they're going to use Tandy as kind of a overall person. I feel like most people feel the way Tandy does, and then hopefully use her as a vehicle to educate.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Because for me, I was actually rooting for Tandy. I was like kind of.
You understood where she was coming from. I
understood where she was coming from because there comes this kind of like anxiety and this thing where you just want to tell somebody to like leave and go and do what you should have done a couple of weeks or years or however long ago. So for me, I kind of saw it more as like she was trying to help, but she didn't know how.
Yeah.
So for me, I was actually kind of rooting for her in this episode.
I mean, like, I totally agree with what she was saying, but it's not as simple as that. It's like telling an alcoholic, like, stop drinking.
Yeah.
You know, not that
and
you're addicted. Well, in a way, you are kind of addicted to a relationship when you're in that situation. But yeah, it's just not as like black and white. And I like that this show continues to tackle these topics that are in gray areas.
Right. Absolutely. And it's even complicated for her mom because her mom shielded her away from that. And even Tandy was like, it was heroic, but I wasn't sure if Tandy really meant that, you know?
Yeah.
Because in a way, you want to you want to protect your kids, but also Tandy was blindsided and heartbroken last season finding out that her father for all these years was abusive. So it's like, it's completely gray, you know?
Yeah.
It's a completely gray situation that her mom faced back in the day.
I feel like there's some like resentment from Tandy towards her mom. Like, I feel like we saw little bits of it throughout the episode. Like when she calls her mom heroic, but I don't know, it just didn't feel it didn't feel genuine.
Exactly.
And then when she's making dinner with her mom and then she realizes what day it is and she's like, oh, I have a ballet thing. It just felt like you were just trying to get out of this like weird one-on-one situation with your mom.
Totally. As soon as she left, I thought that.
Yeah.
She was just trying to leave the conversation. I do like, though, that Tandy is going to, which we all said last year, like totally Buffy the Vampire Slayer type, where she's becoming a huge support system for women of abuse. She's just learning what it looks like, how to handle it appropriately, because both her and Tyrone just jump the gun wherever they want to be helping.
But and I think they're just trying their best to kind of link. They're learning, especially Tandy, how to go about these situations logically and safely.
Yeah.
Unlike some people by the end of the episode.
Baby.
But I love that Tandy and Tyrone kind of had an exchange because they definitely needed to be on the same page as to they were both lying to each other, right?
Yeah.
And so by kind of admitting that where they're coming from, they ended up going to the club. Because Tyrone is just really trying his best to get back into the vigilantism.
Vigilante.
Being a vigilante.
I'm a vigilante.
You know, and
I like that.
bringing an end to drugs. And Tandy was about to start duck walking or something in the club. Like, I was here for it.
Okay, you guys, correct me if I'm wrong. We might have already seen Tandy's first dagger costume, or was this her first costume when they go into the club with the whole white shirt?
I like that they're sticking with their colors.
Yeah.
Speaking of colors, what I thought was cool is the club when they go to like look at the door, it like flashes green.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like,
mayhem.
Oh my gosh.
Also, shout out to. I don't know if I'm the only one who knows this, but Tyrone hit the whoa, and I was just like, I hate this. I was like, goodbye. I was like, that's Aubrey, that's not Tyrone.
Yeah, true. Well, kind of coming to the end, that's when they found out. What did you guys think of when like the meeting was? Everyone at the meeting died at the club. Because I didn't know what to think at that moment. Who did you think was the culprit? What were your thoughts on that scene?
I instantly thought it was Mayhem because they were claw marks.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Who's this?"
But then Bridget comes in, and I was thrown for a loop. I was thinking the same thing, but I was What were you gonna say, Karla?
Yeah, I was confused because when she came in, she just kind of looked like, oh, like what happened here? And I was like, okay, she's acting. Clearly, she's really good at acting. So of course she's gonna act like she doesn't know. So it kind of did give me. I didn't realize there was going to be two Bridgets, one Bridget and then Bridget too.
Bridget can't come to the phone right now.
Well, Bridget.
She's dead.
I thought it was going to be a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde type vibe because, like, in the comics, Mayhem and Bridget O'Reilly aren't two separate people.
Right.
They're one person.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Bridget O'Reilly dies, and then Mayhem takes her place, but Bridget O'Reilly no longer exists. Like, there's not a world where they both are existing at the same time. So I was just like, oh, maybe they're going to do, like, a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde thing. But, baby, that's not the way we went.
Yeah, by the end of the episode, I was shocked. I did not see that coming at all. It was insane. But I was here for it, and also I got to shout out Mayhem's green nails.
Oh my gosh, yes, I saw them.
I lived. I just squealed, and I was just totally here for it. I love those little hints that throughout the show that they're
giving you.
Exactly.
I need green nails.
I mean, let's just go ahead and talk about Bridget and Mayhem while we're on the subject. Bridget, because they're two different people apparently, she is kind of going through PTSD after everything that happened, being shot and being left for dead, and she's drinking, she's going to the shooting range, and and it's so cute that Tyrone is kind of following her and keeping his eyes on her. It's so adorable, and I really do love their relationship. But what did you think about her kind of rocky road of being also a vigilante in the season premiere?
I like that, like, now that we know that there's Bridget O'Reilly and there's Mayhem, I like that in this episode, because before, Bridget O'Reilly as a character was very in the gray, just like all the other characters that we have, but I feel like in this episode, she's more on the lighter side of things, and then Mayhem is definitely leaning to the dark. I feel like they've kind of both exited the gray area, and so we're seeing, like, very by the books Bridget O'Reilly and then very not by the books Mayhem. So I thought that was a cool contrast.
Also, like a PTSD Bridget O'Reilly. I feel like she's suffering from seeing her boyfriend in a freezer and then also dying essentially. Yeah. But I really, really am excited for her character arc. Like, this is what I've been looking forward to.
Same.
Because Mayhem isn't going to be thinking logically like Tandy and Tyrone or Bridget. She's gonna go ahead and get the claws in your neck, basically, right, Karla?
Yeah, I'm actually really excited to see how they connect, because I feel like Bridget is going to learn a lot from Mayhem, and Mayhem's going to learn a lot from Bridget, like, together.
Oh, yes. Go ahead. No, keep going.
So yeah, no, you can go ahead.
No, that was a good thought.
No, that's a really good thought. What this reminded me of, and it just, Joe Pekaski, you man, you. So he did Heroes, the show Heroes, and Allie Larder's character, her name is slipping me, but her whole thing was she had like.
No, it's not Claire. Oh my gosh.
It wasn't Claire. It was a cheerleader. But yeah, right. Claire's a cheerleader.
Yeah.
Okay, but Allie Larder's character, she like had. It was kind of a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde thing, but she would talk to her via reflections. And so, like, I thought when Mayhem popped up, I thought, like, oh, that's the reflection talking. They're about to switch, whatever. Yeah. And that was, like,
that's what I thought, too.
It was really cool to find out that wasn't, like, they legitimately were probably both looking down. And
her name was Tracy Strauss.
Oh, Bree knows all
this.
Thank you. Shout out to Bree in the booth for being an incredible engineer.
Nikki Sanders, Nicholas Kelly. Thank you, Nikki Sanders. I think that was the twins' name, because like I think they ended up being twins or something. I don't know.
And then there was a third personality.
Yeah, that was a long time ago when I watched that show. But
so nostalgic.
Yes.
Any more thoughts on Mayhem before we move on?
No.
I like how they. Sorry, yes, I do.
No. She's awesome.
Yes, I do.
She's gonna F some stuff up this season.
Yes. I very much like how physically, beyond like the clothing, how physically different Bridget and Mayhem look. Bridget looks worn down and tired and stressed and like almost thinner. Like her face looks like a little bit more sunken in, like she hasn't been sleeping. And then Mayhem just seems very like vivacious and full of life. Like her face is beat.
Yeah.
Like it's like a subtle beat, but
shout
like it's
out
beat.
Emma Lahana.
Yeah,
the actress who plays Mayhem and Bridget O'Reilly. We had her last season. I hope we get her.
Oh god,
again.
I really hope so.
But now looking back on like the scenes where it's clearly Mayhem and it's clearly Bridget, like physically I'm like, did no one notice like that she doesn't look the same at all?
Yes.
Maybe she just had coffee that morning. I don't
Facts.
know. But
Great
I love
point.
Mayhem at the crime scene, explaining everything that went down. I was here for it. I was like, I cannot wait to see her like fool people. Oh, I'm so excited. But before we get on to our special segments and our news and gossip, we do want to cover about the human trafficking, because it does kind of lead into our special segments, which is it's such a huge arc in this particular season. And Joe even kind of wanted to do this story arc because I remember reading along the lines of him being in Baton Rouge and how he was talking to someone. Have you heard the story? Mm-hmm. And how that he was asking, because he was doing a show, Underground, which was about the Underground Railroad, and he asked, what country, or where's like the greatest, where's the greatest part of the world where there is massive slavery? And they said, the person answered, about 10 miles that way. So basically in America, and it's happening every single day, and we don't even know it. So I'm glad that this show is really bringing light to this issue, because I could tell you I'm very uneducated about human trafficking. I don't know much about it.
Yeah, me too, Raina. When we were watching the show, I actually looked up a couple of articles in regards to human trafficking and domestic violence. And Drew also sent me one that even like reading through these statistics, it's kind of like it hurts you because you don't realize that it's going around you. But according to Bustle.com, the trafficking of women and children is the world's fastest growing crime. And there's another article called The Voice of Black Cincinnati, and it states that 62% of human trafficking suspects are actually African American, and 40% of victims of human trafficking. Hold on, I read it ahead. 52% of the juvenile prostitution arrests are actually African Americans as well. And
normally in areas where urban city areas, which they kind of touch on in the episode when Tandy meets Andre, the guy who's, working against human trafficking and whatnot. They say it in the show, but it also is very true to real life. Typically in urban, areas, low income, those are kind of prime spots to pick up people. And even in the episode, she's like, why don't we hear about this? And it's true, because most of the time it's not as appealing to worry about a little black girl getting abducted.
My mom's a district attorney, and her whole life has been, shout out to her, she got modern abolitionist award because of her work in human trafficking, because like Drew was saying, she made this campaign called The Ugly Truth because no one wants to look at this crime. No one wants to believe people are being literal slaves, modern day slaves in our own country that's supposed to be the best in the world. And a lot of times it is kids and women and children in under recognized cities, either they're in the adoption system, they're runaways. It's a really organized crime where they target you. So you guys should look at theuglytruth.com, find out the signs, because you can literally see people that are at risk and they are sought after. And I think Karla has a number, right? Or did you have a number for this?
For the human trafficking, no.
Okay, well, they had it on the website. You could always text Be Free to 233-733 or call 1-888-313-1888 if you ever know someone that could be at risk or yourself is at risk.
And I think
National Trafficking Hotline is 888-373-7888.
Okay, perfect. I messed up a number. Thank you, Bree.
Thank you, Bree. And I think it's real. This show is always so dope to me because it's addressing issues that aren't just like, it's addressing the taboo issues. And essentially human trafficking plays hand in hand with systematic oppression, because the children and women who are going missing are in, the prison systems. They're in, like you said, the foster care systems. They're in these rural urban areas where it's low income. And it's like, until we face the systematic oppression of this country, until we quote unquote make America great again, like this is going to continue to be an issue. And so it's really dope to see a show tackle this, especially a show that kind of caters to a younger audience, because
they can be educated.
Yeah,
and it's a Marvel show.
Yeah.
Who would have thought like a Marvel? It's awesome that I'm so happy that Marvel is actually because it's such a dark, heavy subject, and it's like something that we need to talk about for sure.
But I mean, Cloak and Dagger, when it was created, was the fight against the drug push in the 70s, early 80s, and so it's dope to see last season how we got to get to know them as individuals, and this season we're really get to see their characters kind of fulfill what we've known them to be before this show. So it's dope.
And in season 2, it's like the drugs are now people to save. You know, it's just amazing. So this brings us to our special segment presented by Karla. And typically you do the comic book corner, but we don't have a comic book character.
Yeah, we don't really have a new character corner. So we're going to be touching like different subjects that are talked about within the show, just as human trafficking. And since we talked about human trafficking throughout the segment show, then the special segment is going to be dealing with domestic violence. And I also read another article that you guys can find on socialsolutions.com, and there's 20 alarming domestic violence statistics, and these were all based in 2018. More than 10 million men and women in the U.S. are subject to domestic violence. More than 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men in the U.S. report having experienced rape, physical violence, and or stalking by an intimate partner in their lifetime. Nearly 20 people per minute are physically abused by an intimate partner in the United States alone. During 1 year, this adds up to more than 10 million women and men.
Damn.
Yeah.
This is definitely very informative.
So a lot of these statistics basically tell you how many people are being are going through domestic violence, and I think it's like very, very alarming because it's also another subject that a lot of people don't necessarily talk about. So I think that it's great for us to kind of look up the statistics and be open to talk to the people around us. Like if you are part of a domestic violence, and it doesn't even have to be like domestic where it's abusive towards you physically, but if it's abusive towards you mentally, spiritually, emotionally, then the best thing that you can do is definitely surround yourself around people that will genuinely care about you, and when they ask you like how you're doing, that they actually want to know how you're truly doing, and be open to talk about it, whether if it's with like a friend. And I mean, I've never experienced it, so I can't say that like, oh, it's so easy to just talk about it, but there are places where you can get help from, and there is a hotline that you can call for 24-hour help, and it's the phone number is 216-391/help. So you guys can go ahead and write that phone number down. I think it's really important. I think you can call, and it could be anonymous. There's also different groups that do have meetings. So if this is something that you're going through and you're seeking for help, the help is out there, and we really do hope that you guys make that step forward for a better future for yourself.
Well said. Thank you so much for that, Karla. That was awesome.
We do have 2 really great comments in the chat right now. Ivan Soto brought up that Tandy saw Michaela's past and not her hopes, which, right? Is that what you guys gathered as well?
Yeah, her in the ambulance.
Yeah. And then also Nicholas Kelly, that the parents are looking for they're trying to exonerate their son, but he was referencing other characters in the MCU that could become the lawyer for him.
Ooh, She-Hulk.
And actually, I think Nicholas Kelly brought up something really dope earlier that I meant to say when we were talking about Tandy, and it was that he thought that he was going to, that we thought that maybe Tandy would be able to help Michaela's, not addiction issue, because I don't think, obviously that was like what they did to her, but help to sober her up, because we saw the same thing with her mom last season.
Yeah, because she had the heroin with Michaela.
Yeah,
Nicholas Kelly, yes.
Thank you. Shout out to the chat.
I think as far as Tandy being able to see her like past rather than hopes, like the dark dimension and like Tandy dealing with the light, they kind of go beyond just seeing darkness, like people's fears and people's like hope. So it looks like clearly we're gonna get to see them explore what that means. I'd love to get to go into the dark, the dark dimension or whatever, this season. So we'll see.
I just love Tandy. Her powers are growing too, along with Tyrone's. She has 2 daggers now.
Yeah.
I just live for it. We are running short on time, so we're going to have to skim over our second special segment, which is Cloaked and Daggered, but you should probably tune in next week so we can do that for you because it's such a fun segment.
Yeah, but if you're if you're hanging out in the comments or in the live chat, Cloaked and Daggered is going to be a new segment we do every week where it's your highlight and your low light of the episode. Cloaked being your low light of the episode and Daggered being your highlight. So be sure to put it in the comments and we'll check them out and talk to you guys this week.
Speaking of Drew, I love your highlight. I can't stop looking at it. All right, well, this brings us to news and gossip for the week.
Yes, you guys. I'm so excited. I have some very great news for you guys. It has been a year, essentially, since we've caught up with the cast. Some exciting stuff. Aubrey Omari, obviously Tyrone, who plays Cloak. If you follow him on Instagram, he has a link to his SoundCloud, which he goes by Mari, I think his musical name is. And a lot of the songs, if not all of them, were by him in tonight's episode. And I knew one was an absolute banger. I need to find the title of it.
Yeah, there was one tonight that was by him, and it was called, I believe, Numb, and it was specifically written for this
So
episode.
good. Such a talented artist and actor. So that's amazing. And then moving on to my girl, Ali Maki. Yes, she was here. She plays Mina Hess, fellow Asian American queen. And she got cast in the new Toy Story 4 as Giggle McDimples. Huge come up. So amazing. So excited for her. And she's also been working on a project called Asian American Girl Club, which is basically redefining what it means to be a modern day Asian American woman, and also using everyone else in any other culture to become our allies as well, supporting each other through this clothing line. As you can see in the photo, it's fire. You can go to AsianAmericanGirlClub.com and buy any sort of merch. They have such good merchandise. Also follow them on Instagram. We're so proud of you, Ali.
Yes.
Way to go, girl. Represent.
Ali
is
hooked
awesome.
Steph and I up with shirts, and they're really comfortable and cute. And I'll probably wear mine next week since it looks like Mina, according to Joe Pekaski, Mina's going to kind of explain the whole Bridget and Mayhem thing. So,
I know.
You know.
I miss Mina so much.
Yes.
And I really hope Ali can come this season. She needs to.
Oh,
Please,
yeah.
please,
We're
please,
working
Ali.
on it.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for news and gossip. That was it, right?
Yes.
all right. Well, before we get to predictions, rapid fire predictions, I do want to let you guys know if you want to do the giveaway this season, all you have to do is leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. Give us that 5 stars. It's not that hard to do. Tell us what you love about the show, what you love about the after show. And also, this can also be for YouTube as well if you don't have Apple Podcasts, iTunes, whatever. Just give us a 5-star in the comments below, and you will also be entered. So it's super awesome that you can possibly win this comic book.
Yes, new jumpsuit.
Shades of Grey. It is so beautiful. It used to be digital only, but now it is a graphic novel.
A jumpsuit you could actually work out in.
Right?
Yes.
You don't have a boob slip.
And
Right.
At the end of the season, we will draw a winner. Everyone who enters will be in a name in a hat or something like that. And the winner wins this comic book. And just DM us, slide into our DMs, and send us your address, and we'll send it to you.
And last year, I'm pretty sure we're gonna get, if we get some guest in here, we'll have him sign it.
Yes.
You know, I might have some guests up my sleeves. You know, I've been in the DMs or whatever.
You're going to have to tune in every single week to see if there's a special guest. So there will be. I'm calling it now. So rapid fire predictions, y'all. What's going to happen?
AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Okay, I'll go really quick. I think that we're going to find out, Michaela's going to be alive, and then hopefully we find out who her killers are, or who her traffickers are, and we just shoot them all up.
I think there's going to be a moment where Tandy and Tyrone don't agree with the same version of Bridget. I think one might lean towards Mayhem a little bit more, and I think one might possibly lean towards Bridget.
I like it.
Spicy.
I like that. I actually think that Bridget and Mayhem are actually going to work together. I think that that Bridget is going to be very interested in this side of her, and she's going to want to learn more about her.
Oh my gosh.
Herself.
I think the opposite, but I think Mayhem is going to wreck Jeremy. So I don't know, but you guys should let us know what you thought. So we're going to have to wrap up now. Wait, we're going to say something?
No, I was just
I'm so
stretching my hand to Steph to do waffles.
Waffles, baby, and hit that like button.
My amazing, beautiful panel. Where can we find you on social media?
You guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm your host, Karla Beltran. You can follow me on Instagram at I am Karla Beltran.
And I'm Drew Jones. You guys can slide into the DMs at OKDrewJ.
I'm Steph Sabraw. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Steph Sabraw.
And I'm your host, Ollie Drennan. Follow me on all social media platforms at Ollie Dreamer. Until next week, we will see you.
Ciao.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.